That gold wedding band on your finger, or the pendant hanging from your necklace, its true age might just make it older than our sun. Look at it for a second. That mesmerizing, untarnishable golden gleam isn't even from Earth. Billions of years before our planet even coalesced, deep in the absolute void of space, a cataclysm of biblical proportions took place. Two ultra-dense neutron stars, the densest objects in the universe outside of black holes, were locked in a gravitational death spiral until they violently collided. In the microseconds of their cataclysmic annihilation, extreme temperatures and unimaginable floods of neutrons forged the very fabric of heavy matter. In that precise instant, a noble, incredibly heavy element was born. Eventually, riding a wave of cosmic dust and a torrential meteor shower, it slammed deep into the heart of a young Earth while our planet was still nothing but a molten ball of magma. This is gold. It is literal stardust, the pristine ashes of cosmic destruction. For this single rock from outer space, humanity has spent 5,000 years tearing itself apart. Gold has witnessed the rise of empires and the utter ruin of civilizations. Some say it represents the highest glory, others believe it bleeds pure greed. But have you ever wondered, out of all 118 elements on the periodic table, why this cosmic outsider became the ultimate anchor of human wealth? And if we melted down every single ounce of gold ever mined in human history today, would it really fill up the planet the way you think it does? In this video, we are going to dive into hard science, high-stakes finance, and cutting-edge technology to crack the ultimate code behind gold once and for all. We grow up believing that the world's central banks are overflowing with endless brick walls of gold bars, and that generations of wild-eyed gold rush miners dug up a never-ending supply of gold dust. Hollywood movies make us think there's enough gold out there to pave entire palaces. But hard science and cold statistics are about to deliver your first reality check. According to the latest data from the World Gold Council, the total amount of gold mined since the dawn of civilization, from ancient Sumeria and Egypt, all the way to the second you clicked on this video, amounts to roughly 210,000 metric tons. Now, 210,000 tons sounds like an astronomical number, right? Let's paint a picture for a proper reality check. If we took every wedding ring, every chain, every vintage watch, every historical coin, King Tut's golden mask, and every single bullion bar buried deep in Fort Knox, threw them all into a massive industrial crucible, and melted them down into pure liquid gold, that liquid wealth would barely fill up 3 standard Olympic-sized swimming pools. If swimming pools are too hard to picture, let's forge that entire volume into a single, solid, perfect cube. This cube, the ultimate token of all human wealth, would measure just about 68 feet on each side. It wouldn't even clear the roof of a standard 8-story apartment building. If you dropped it right in the dead center of a professional football field, it would barely occupy the kickoff circle. What makes this even more desperate is that the easy gold, the loose nuggets in riverbeds and shallow surface mines, was completely stripped away centuries ago by picks, shovels, and dynamite. Today, squeezing even a fraction of an ounce out of the earth requires a brutal high-tech toll. Take the Mponeng gold mine in South Africa, the deepest human-made point on the face of the planet. To hunt for gold, miners have blasted their way over 2.5 miles straight down into the Earth's crust. Down here, the staggering weight of the rock creates a constant threat of seismic explosions. The ambient temperature reaches a suffocating 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and humans can only survive thanks to a massive, non-stop ice slurry cooling system. Down in this subterranean abyss, workers have to blast, haul, and chemically process an entire metric ton of solid rock just to extract a measly 4 grams of gold that is roughly the weight of a single standard wedding band. An extreme cosmic origin leaves gold making up just 4 parts per billion of the Earth's crust, and a punishing extraction process locks up the rest. This is the very first rule of gold. It is fiercely scarce, and its total volume is entirely hard-coded by the laws of physics. Humanity cannot simply print more of it. This brings us to our second big question. The universe is full of rare elements, and there are metals out there significantly scarcer than gold. Why then, across thousands of years of human history, did completely isolated cultures, the dynasties of ancient China, the Inca Empire in the Americas, and the legions of imperial Rome, all unanimously choose gold as the absolute anchor of wealth? The truth is, this wasn't a historical coincidence. It was the only logical answer to a grand puzzle set by physics and chemistry. Let's skip the dense economic textbooks and run a pure process of elimination across the periodic table. Imagine you are a tribal chieftain 3,000 years ago, and you need to select one item out of all 118 elements to serve as money. How do you choose? First, you have to disqualify gases. You can't trade an invisible, intangible cloud of hydrogen or helium for a head of cattle, because the moment you open your wallet, your money floats away. Next, you have to rule out the volatile, unstable elements. Take the alkali metals like lithium, sodium, or potassium. If you tried using a pouch of pure sodium as currency, the moment a rainstorm hit, your wallet would violently explode right on your hip, tearing you to pieces. And radioactive or toxic elements are obviously out of the question. Trading in uranium, plutonium, or radium means you and your entire family would succumb to radiation sickness long before you ever got a chance to spend your fortune. Once you filter out the chaos, you are left with about 30 transition metals. Now, let's look at their personalities and longevity. Iron, it rusts far too easily. If you spent 10 years burying your hard-earned wealth in the ground, only to dig up a pile of worthless red dust, you'd go bankrupt. Copper is a bit better, but the moment it hits damp air, it corrodes into a dull green crust. What about silver? Silver came incredibly close to being the perfect currency, but it has one fatal flaw. It reacts aggressively with trace amounts of sulfur in the air, tarnishing into a dull black film and losing its luster. On top of that, it's just a bit too abundant. Finally, we narrow our eyes to the rarest group of noble metals left: platinum, palladium, rhodium, osmium, iridium, and gold. While platinum and palladium are incredibly durable, they suffered from a historical tragedy. Their melting points are impossibly high. Ancient civilizations simply couldn't build furnaces hot enough to melt them down and stamp them into uniform, standardized coins. So, after thousands of years of natural selection and elemental elimination, the periodic table handed in its final exam. There was only one survivor that was perfectly scarce, eternally stable, and incredibly easy to work with: gold. Gold rules supreme thanks to 4 unmatched physical traits. First, it is genuinely timeless. With a melting point of exactly 1,947 degrees Fahrenheit, ancient blacksmiths could easily liquefy it using nothing but charcoal and a bellows. More importantly, it never rusts, and it never corrodes. If an ancient Roman warship sinks to the bottom of the ocean for 2,000 years, when modern archaeologists finally haul it up, the wood is rotted, the iron has dissolved, but the gold coins pulled from the silt wipe away the mud, and they flash in the sunlight exactly the way they did 2 millennia ago. Gold is the only element that can completely mock time. Second, its malleability is practically supernatural. A single gram of pure gold can be drawn into a micro-thin wire stretching nearly 2 miles long, or pounded into a gold leaf just a fraction of a micron thick. This means it can be effortlessly divided, weighed, and minted. Third, it has an unmistakable visual signature. Almost every other metal on Earth is a dull silver white. Gold and copper are the only exceptions, but gold's majestic, sun-like yellow hue instantly tapped into humanity's primal worship of the gods and absolute power. The laws of chemistry locked gold onto its throne. It is the ultimate monetary cipher, hard-coded into the universe. In the darker corners of high finance, there's a biting maxim: gold is honest money. Paper currency is an honest lie. To truly understand what that means, we have to pull back the curtain on the grandest illusion of the modern financial system. Centuries ago, there was no such thing as pure paper money. Paper bills were actually certificates of deposit. Take the world-famous US dollar, often called greenbacks or buck. Before 1971, the global economy operated under the Bretton Woods system. The United States government made a solemn promise to the world. Every $35 printed was legally tied to exactly 1 troy ounce of pure gold. If you marched into the Federal Reserve with $35 bills, they were legally obligated to hand you a physical ounce of gold. Back then, the dollar was anchored by honest gold. But wars cost money, and massive social programs cost even more. The US government quickly realized that the printing presses could run a lot faster than miners could dig gold out of the ground. On August 15, 1971, President Richard Nixon took to national TV and unilaterally announced the unthinkable. The US dollar was officially cutting its ties with gold. This move wasn't about hiding a dark secret. It was about breaking the physical chains that gold clamped around the printing press. Overnight, humanity stepped into the era of fiat currency. What is fiat money? It's paper rolling off a press, or digital ones and zeros blinking on a bank server. Its value exists solely because a government decrees it has value and forces you to believe them. The moment the power to print money was freed from the finite supply of gold, Pandora's box swung wide open. Whenever the economy falters, a central bank can simply hit a button and fire up the printing presses. As the ocean of paper grows, the purchasing power in your pocket is quietly, invisibly diluted and stolen away. This is why Wall Street veterans always say, in times of peace, buy art. In times of chaos, buy gold. At today's market rates, a single gram of gold trades for roughly $130. That puts the total value of all 210,000 tons of gold ever mined at a staggering $27 trillion. To put $27 trillion into perspective, that is more than the annual GDP of almost every single nation on Earth, barring the US and China. It's enough wealth to buy out Apple 80 times over, or hand a cash stack of over $3,300 to every single man, woman, and child living on this planet today. Yet this monumental fortune, capable of buying half of global civilization, can still fit inside 3 small swimming pools. Paper currencies depreciate, nations default, and banks collapse. But whenever a massive financial crisis hits and faith in government paper evaporates, the world falls back on the only universal baseline of trust it has ever known: gold. Governments might mock gold in public, but they hoard it like feverish survivalists in private because they know a fundamental truth: gold is humanity's ultimate shield against inflation and the endless printing of fiat power. If our story ended here, gold would merely be a relic of wealth and luxury. But this is where we take a hard turn into a high-tech reality. Gold is no longer just a status symbol draped around an elite neck or a heavy brick sitting uselessly in a subterranean vault. Today, it is the vital king of industry holding up the apex of human technology. The very reason you can hold your smartphone right now and watch this video in high definition is because gold is keeping your device alive. Don't believe it? Just look inside your phone. In the hyper-precise world of nanometer-scale semiconductor packaging, a microchip's processing cores are tens of thousands of times thinner than a human hair. Connecting these microscopic brains to the rest of the phone's circuit board requires ultra-fine wiring. Engineers tried using copper, and they tried using aluminum, but copper oxidizes and rusts the moment it hits air. A single atom of rust inside a microprocessor causes an instant, fatal short circuit, meaning your $1,000 smartphone would brick itself within a few months of unboxing. The only solution is gold, thanks to its near supernatural resistance to oxidation and its incredible electrical conductivity. In the microelectronics industry, the critical microscopic bridges inside your chips are forged from 99.99% pure gold bonding wires. Your average smartphone contains roughly 0.034 grams of pure gold. That might sound microscopic, but when you multiply that by the billions of active devices on Earth, you realize that a massive, invisible gold mine is floating right through our modern cities. During the California gold rush of the 19th century, a famous business maxim emerged. During a gold rush, don't dig for gold. Sell shovels and denim jeans. In our modern digital gold rush, gold itself has become the ultimate shovel. It doesn't just rule your pocket, it commands the bleeding edge of space exploration. Consider the $10 billion masterpiece of human engineering, NASA's James Webb Space Telescope. Look at its massive, iconic primary mirror. That blinding honeycomb structure isn't just shiny, it is covered in pure gold. Scientists took these ultra-precise beryllium mirrors and, inside a high-tech vacuum chamber, vaporized and deposited a perfectly uniform layer of pure gold, just 100 nanometers thick. Why gold? Because James Webb's entire mission is to capture the very first beams of faint light emitted 13 billion years ago at the dawn of the universe. Over billions of light-years of cosmic expansion, that primordial starlight has stretched out into the infrared spectrum. And gold happens to be the most efficient material in the known universe for reflecting infrared light, boasting an incredible 98% reflection rate. Without that micro-thin shield of gold, humanity would be completely blind to the deepest secrets of the cosmos. Even closer to home, whenever you see footage of an astronaut floating outside the International Space Station, notice the cool, metallic gold sheen on their helmet visors. That is a nanometer layer of gold leaf. It's thin enough for the astronaut to see through perfectly, but acts as a flawless mirror to bounce away the lethal thermal heat and blinding solar radiation of open space. In the chronicles of ancient Greek mythology, there is a famous cautionary tale, the Midas touch. King Midas prayed to the gods for the power to turn everything he touched into gold. His prayer was granted, but the victory was short-lived. His bread, his wine, and eventually his own beloved daughter hardened into cold, solid, lifeless statues of gold at his fingertips. He ended up starving in a palace of infinite wealth. Humanity's relationship with gold carries that exact same irony. We spend our lives pretending to be the masters of gold. We blast open mountains, exploit continents, and lock it away under high-security vaults. But if you zoom out to a cosmic timescale, human life lasts a brief century, and empires are just a blink of an eye, long after humanity fades, long after our fiat money crumbles into literal dust. This stardust, born 14 billion years ago from a violent collision of neutron stars, will still be sitting here, completely untouched by time, flashing with its original, primordial luster. It cannot decay, it cannot rust, and it will effortlessly outlive us all. We never truly owned gold. We are just its temporary, fleeting caretakers in its near-infinite journey through the cosmos. Gold is a magnificent, ultra-rare gift from the universe. But deep within the outer edges of the periodic table, there lies a mysterious element that makes gold look like common dirt. It cannot be found in nature. To create it, humanity has to mobilize the absolute peak of a nation's scientific power, utilizing the world's most advanced nuclear reactors to bombard heavy particles non-stop for years, all to yield a few microscopic micrograms. It costs a staggering 300,000 times more than gold. A single gram is valued at $27 million. 1 gram can buy you a luxury private island in the tropics. Yet that exact same gram is the most powerful weapon in modern medicine, acting as a hyper-targeted sniper to obliterate malignant tumors without harming the human body. It is even hailed as the ultimate key to interstellar colonization, the theoretical fuel for warp-drive starships. What is this mysterious substance that scientists call the Genesis element, and how do modern physicists pull it out of a nuclear reactor like true cosmic alchemists? Hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and turn on the notification bell. In our next episode, we are going to leave earthly wealth behind and unlock the secrets of the element that costs a fortune compared to gold and truly commands the quantum universe. I'll see you in the next one.